I honestly didn't think it could get any worse than what we've already seen, but today, advocate Matthew Chaskalson completely paralyzed the room. He didn't just pull up standard corruption files, he brought out raw WhatsApp messages that lay bare a shocking protection racket operating right under our noses. According to these leaks, Julius Malema wasn't just playing politics, he allegedly took hard cash to safeguard illegal foreigners while actively demanding that the law clamp down on the activists trying to stop them. Think about that. The very people who are supposed to protect this country are being accused of selling out our borders for a payday. The mask has completely slipped. If this makes your blood boil, flood the comments with "criminals must rot in jail." Slam that like button, subscribe to Patriotic Mzansi News, and share this link everywhere before the algorithms try to restrict it. We have the proof right here. Jabulani, run the clip.
I now want to turn to the relationship between General Khan, Mr. Sayed, and Mr. Malema. And there are various themes that run through the chats in this regard. The first one that I want to start with begins, and it's probably, it begins with xenophobic protests in 2021. Which is a reminder that we haven't moved on so far in the last 5 years. If we go to and also a reminder of Mr. Malema's principled stand in relation to xenophobia. If we go to 5963, we see at the 10th of June 2021, Mr. Sayed forwards to General Khan 6 messages, which he says come from Mr. Malema, and we'll take the messages and then explain why I say they come from Mr. Malema. The first one was a photograph of a person that's been deleted and that is no longer legible. The second was a picture of an Operation Dudula poster in which Operation Dudula was threatening to remove all illegal foreign nationals by force and was calling for a meeting on June 16, 2021, and had the threat underneath: if you are operating illegally, you better pack and leave before 16 June.
Sorry, Mr. Chaskalson, I don't know whether you answered the question as to why these are not being flighted when you were engaging.
They are being flighted. These are being flighted.
All right, inconsistent.
Oh, sorry.
I was checking whether there was a principle.
No. There's no. Maybe I'm going too quickly here, and I should slow down, and everything should be flighted. Sorry. Sorry.
You can tell who the source was when I spoke.
Solidarity on the Commission is breaking down, Chair. Well, maybe if we can start at the top. The top, if we go one up, is the message that straddles 5963 and 5964, which was forwarded from Mr. Sayed at message time 101:31 on the 10th of June 2021. What this is a deleted photograph of someone. And underneath it, at the same time, there is a picture of an Operation Dudula banner or poster, which says we'll be removing all illegal foreign nationals by force, calls for a meeting in Dipkloof Hall on the 16th of June, and has the threat: if you are operating illegally, you better pack and leave before 16 June. If we go over to the next page, still at the same time, and one sees that the first 4 messages are all have the same time, because they are in fact forwarded messages to General Khan from Mr. Sayed. He forwards: must I tell the General? Must be arrested tonight? Yes. So those are 5 messages that are forwarded messages with the same timestamp, and then Mr. Sayed explains from Juju. That's a message from Mr. Sayed to General Khan. And then what comes afterwards is another forwarded message which says, okay, done. So essentially what Mr. Sayed is communicating is that he has been asked by Mr. Malema to forward the first 5 messages to General Khan. Well, he's been asked by Mr. Malema to forward those messages to General Khan. He has, in the second last message of with the timestamp 101:33, he explains to General Khan that it's from Mr. Malema, and then he forwards his response to Mr. Malema, which is, okay, done, I have forwarded these to the General. Now that takes place on the 10th of June. The very next day, if we go down to 5971, General Khan, a day before, literally a day before General Khan formulated his draft question, a message had been communicated by Mr. Sayed to General Khan, ostensibly on behalf of Mr. Malema and apparently asking for the arrest of persons making threats to foreign nationals on behalf of Operation Dudula. That took place on the 10th of June, that message, that series of messages. General Khan on the 11th sends his message suggesting a question to the Inspector General. And while I commend Mr. Malema for his stance against xenophobic lawlessness, the chats suggest that General Khan saw this as an opportunity to use Mr. Malema's position within the EFF to attempt to trick the Inspector General into a lie that may provide a basis for having him removed. So Mr. Malema sends essentially a complaint about a threat of lawless action by Operation Dudula on the 10th and calls for action to be taken. The next day, General Khan writes back with a question for the Inspector General. It has the appearance of a quid pro quo. There is a...
Sorry, what are we to make of the use of a conduit or a third party in these exchanges?
The use of the conduit is problematic in its own right. And if we go further, because there are further concerns about quid pro quo, where the use of the conduit becomes particularly problematic. But it seems to me that that if General Khan is genuinely wanting questions raised in Parliament, he has appropriate means of doing that without using conduits. And certainly if he wants Mr. Malema to post questions, he should be asking Mr. Malema directly. It may be that at this stage he didn't have a line of direct communication to Mr. Malema. That looks to be the case because, as we'll see later, a few months after this, Mr. Sayed gives him contact details for Mr. Malema. But Mr. Sayed's role in all of this is very problematic. Mr. Sayed belongs to a company which, on its own admission, has been engaged in fraudulent and corrupt activity historically, which is alleged to, and tax evasion, and which is alleged to be continuing to do that at the time that this is happening. And he's not an appropriate person for General Khan to be engaging with in relation to matters of this nature, whatever their personal relationship. But I do want to turn to the other issues in relation to quid pro quo, because we've looked at one part of the chronology.
Chaskalson, before you do that, it seems to me that a further issue of concern may be, at least on the face of it, that General Khan may well have obtained the information behind these questions by virtue of his position. And then he's using information that he would have, if there's any truth to what is posed and which the Inspector General is expected to lie about. There's that possibility that he would have obtained this information by virtue of his position as an intelligence police officer, and then he's using that information inappropriately.
Inspector Baloy, we've been trying to Inspector Baloy, Commissioner Baloy, we've been trying to locate former Inspector General Dintwe to get a statement to explain this. We haven't yet been able to get a statement from him, but what we have seen is a press report purporting to quote him on this issue. And what he says is that he and General Khan together had a meeting with Mr. Marimutu, in which event what this process would have been about. There is another serious concern about quid pro quo if we look back at the chronology. We've looked at a process that runs from 10 June, when the Operation Dudula messages are sent, through to 21 June, when the letter to the Minister of Police is sent. In the middle of that process, on the 15th of June, if we go to page 5990, we come to the Santon case number that I have mentioned previously. And there we see that it's now 4 days after General Khan has sent his draft question to the Inspector General, to Mr. Malema through Mr. Sayed. Mr. Sayed forwards to General Khan a request from Mr. Malema. And that is at the message on page 5990 at message time 1207 on the 15th of June, where Mr. Sayed forwards the message, need to know the complaint in case number Santon case 79/07/2019, and says Juju Brew. And General Khan says, okay, thanks. Now, if we go to the next page, General Khan responds very promptly. What he's done is he's got onto the SAPS computerized database of cases, and he sends what looks like a photograph or a screenshot from that database, which identifies who the complainant is in that case. And we see that at the top of 5991. Now, and that screen that we see, which he sends to Mr. Sayed, identifies the complainant as Mr. Ruplal. And Mr. Sayed thanks him for it, and then for good measure, General Khan sends through not only Mr. Ruplal's name, which appears from the screen, but also his address, which wasn't even asked for. Now, Mr. Ruplal was the curator of the VBS Bank. And that case, Santon case 76/07/2019, was a case that he had instituted in relation to frauds concerning the VBS Bank. Now, Mr. Malema has been implicated in the VBS Bank scandal. He is implicated in the plea explanation affidavit of the former VBS chair, Mr. Matodzi, who pleaded guilty and was sentenced to an effective 15 years of imprisonment for his role in the scandal. He stated in his plea explanation affidavit that in an attempt to buy protection, political protection from the EFF for VBS, when inquiries were starting to be made in relation to VBS, in an attempt to buy political protection from the EFF, he had paid bribes of millions of rands to Mr. Malema and to Mr. Floyd Shivambu in the guise of making donations to the EFF. The relevant extract from the affidavit of Mr. Matodzi is at the exhibit bundle, page 300 to 301. Don't propose to read it because that's been the subject of separate investigations. But what it shows is that Mr. Malema's concern about this case number was because it related to an issue, whether rightly or wrongly someone was implicating him. And getting the name of the complainant in that case was not something to which Mr. Malema was entitled, and was not something which General Khan was entitled to provide, still less the address of the complainant. And happening when it did, in the midst of this exchange in relation to questions to the Inspector General, which General Khan wanted Mr. Malema to organize, it has very much the appearance of a favor in return for a favor, an illegal favor in return for a favor. There is a second strand of the exchanges between Mr. Sayed and General Khan, which involves Mr. Malema. And it starts on the 30th of June at page 6227. General Khan forwards the picture of Mr. Malema and Mr. Sayed to Mr. Sayed. Mr. Sayed returns a message which relates to a tender for fleet management services submitted by a company called Berto Bright, B-E-R-T-O-B-R-I-T-E, to the State Information Technology Agency, SITA. And underneath that, he says, Juju sent me. General Khan says what he needs here, what does he need? And Mr. Sayed says, I think he wants us to do it. In other words, we infer, I think he wants us to do this tender for him. So we have...
But where is the for him part, Mr. Chaskalson? Yeah, I mean, I think he wants us to do it. I get that part.
Or for Berto Bright, because it's Berto Bright's tender. It's not a tender that's put in by a company of Mr. Sayed or Mr. Or General Khan. It's for Berto Bright. And of course, the question is, what is the relationship between Berto Bright and Mr. Malema?
That part I get. The part I don't get is for you to say he wants us to do it for him. That's the part
for Berto Bright. The issue in relation to Berto Bright is that by this stage, August 2021, Berto Bright has already appeared in the press in relation to an allegedly corrupt tender that it procured in Tshwane on the basis of paying amounts to the EFF. I'll find my reference. I don't have it to hand here, but it is in the exhibit bundle. Let me just quickly look. Yeah, it's page 303 of the exhibits bundle, where there is an article entitled "Businessman Who Captured Tshwane Fleet Department Had a Man on the Inside." It's dated 26 February 2020. It relates to a Berto Bright it relates to a tender in Tswane by Mr. Khanyago, who is linked to Berto Bright, and who is alleged to have paid 15 million to 3 companies linked to EFF leader Mr. Malema.
The article seems to mention a different company of Mr. Khanyago, Mr. Chaskalson. Reading very quickly, sorry, I might be missing it.
No, you are right. It refers to Balimi Barui Trading, BBT. I will get the connection to Mr. Khanyago and Berto Bright. We don't have it in this bundle. But if we go back to the sequence, we see again a situation where General Khan appears to be looking for the support of Mr. Malema in his disciplinary matters through Mr. Sayed. And through Mr. Sayed, Mr. Malema is communicating a wish that General Khan and Mr. Sayed will assist with the Berto Bright tender. We have a number of issues that we can still ventilate in open session relating to WhatsApp chats of General Khan. The first topic I would like to address is the leaking or abuse of confidential SAPS information. And it spans quite a wide range from the relatively innocuous to the less innocuous. And if we can start with the innocuous, it seems that General Khan has a tendency to show off to friends by sharing crime intelligence documents that sort of reflect on his importance. So if I can start, for instance, with a document at page 5659.
Can we just rely, maybe guide us to rely, do we rely on what you project here? Do we need to go into our computers? Yesterday I tried to find pages and I landed where I shouldn't have landed, which was quite distressing. So I'll be more comfortable if I don't have to go to my computer.
I don't think that there is much that we, I suppose, criticizing General Khan for sharing confidential crime intelligence information. I shouldn't really broadcast it to the nation. I
just want to know if I can shut down my computer.
Your computer. Our problem is that, I mean, for instance, this category, which is really about leaking documents that shouldn't really have been leaked. I don't know how appropriate it is to broadcast the documents themselves. So I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you to keep your computer open at least for a while. Once we leave this topic, which won't take long. And it all, in fact, in truth, when I look at this topic, it relates to historical material that I don't think is relevant any longer. Okay, so I think we can actually broadcast.
Yeah, as long as you get me an experienced therapist when we are done.
Should I be issuing any indemnities? Yes. Well, the first document, and I want to go quickly through this category because it's not that significant, it spans pages 5, 6, 5, 9, and it's a document in which Major General Khan was going back to December 2020 when he was delegated increased powers within crime intelligence. He shared that document first with Mr. Sayed, which we see at 5659, and Mr. Sayed responded, "Well done, my brew," at the foot of 5660. And he also shared it with Mr. Valley, which we see at 5021, and Mr. Valley said, "This is great news." It's really, as I emphasize it, it's not sinister, but it's probably not appropriate. I don't think that internal delegation documents within crime intelligence ought to be shared with friends. There's a similar pattern that one sees, and I'll run quickly through these. 6466, an appointment to a role within the anti-kidnapping task force and what his responsibilities will be there. He shares with Mr. Sayed, who responds, "My man," with some exclamation marks. And likewise, when he is invited as part of a police delegation to address the Joint Standing Commission on Intelligence flying down on the police jet, he forwards that email to his friends. One sees it at 6693 to Mr. Sayed. One sees it at 4129 to another friend, Brad K9, who says, "You are a jet setter." These are not particularly egregious. They're possibly just not appropriate. But then there is a separate pattern which starts becoming more problematic, and that is a pattern where friends of General Khan will send him case numbers and ask him for some assistance in relation to those case numbers. So we see that across a number of chats, some without explanation, some with explanation. So at page 2740, Mr. Sanjay Ajodia, who is saved as Sanjay Shay 357, and 357 is the name of the vehicle, the sort of high-end vehicle workshop that Mr. Ajodia and Mr. Valley are partners in, sends him a case number on the 12th of March 2021 with no explanation. At page 5990, we see a case number being sent by Mr. Sayed, ostensibly on behalf of Mr. Malema. We'll get back to this one in more detail later. We see that at 15th of June 2021, Mr. Sayed says, "Need to know the complainant in case number," gives the case number and says, "Juju brew." Then we get even more sinister exchanges of this nature. So, for instance, if we go to page 5370, or even 5369, we see an exchange between Mr. Valley, and I emphasize it's not this Mr. Valley or any relation, it's Mr. Ismail Valley, on the 28th of September 2021, at the foot of 5369, Mr. Valley greets General Khan, and then over the page he says, "Can you see what a case is about if I get you a case number? Commercial crimes, Hawks." General Khan says, "Yes, bro." And Ismail Valley says, "Hawks called me now. gives the name of the Hawks officer, gives the case officer. General Khan says which police station. Then a bit later, not so much later, an hour later, Mr. Valley says, I went in, Brew, Atakak, I'll tell Bro when I see you. General Khan says, okay, thanks. And Mr. Valley responds with an abusive comment about the Hawks. General Khan says, do you need me to do anything? Mr. Valley says, no, Chaskalson blood. I will save you for a day when I really need you, although there are laughing emojis after that, which may signify a joke. But General Khan says, I'm here for you, bro. And it may have been intended as a joke, but later in the chats between Mr. Valley and General Khan, we see that it may not have, it may be a bit more serious than that. This relates to a different case altogether. And we see this at 5487. And at the foot of 5487, Mr. Valley gives the name of a person. And then underneath, at the top of 5488, this is on the 15th of April 2022, says, because in position of fraud PRP, they're saying. And General Khan says, Slam's Bureau, did that person come home today? Mr. Valley says, gee, yes. Is your contact sorted, he asks. General Khan says, okay. Mr. Valley thanks him, says the wit lawyer or the vit lawyer. And then General Khan says, we just have to make it disappear now. That's at the top of 5489. And Mr. Valley says, gee, can you, bro? I'll get the toppy to sort. And General Khan says, tomorrow, 1400, we can see him at the hotel. So there is a suggestion that General Khan can make a criminal complaint or a criminal charge disappear in this exchange at the request of Mr. Valley. There is a later exchange of a similar nature, which we see at 5605. And at the foot of 5605, it's now the 27th of May, 2023. Mr. Valley sends some case numbers. He says, morning, Brew, Mom, and he sends what looks like a case number for Pretoria and another case number for East London. The case number for Pretoria had the prefix SH, and General Khan says, what is SH? Mr. Valley responds, she lives in Chatsworth, Durban. But says underneath, how's it, Brew? All's well. My mom's case number from the lawyers is, and gives a case number. General Khan gives a thumbs up. It says, waiting to see the boss to discuss. Jazakala. Islam's big bro, the case in Pretoria Central to be heard in August, old lady's case. And General Khan says, okay. And again, the suggestion in this exchange is that General Khan is going to do something to sort out Mr. Valley's mother's problems with this case that is in Pretoria. That is what I wanted to draw attention to under this topic.